Clay from season 6 of Love is Blind. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to meet you. So let's just get into it. I mean, how long has it been since you've been on the show?
So we started filming the show, I want to say 28th of March, 2023. The wedding scene actually happened on May 12th. And then we just shot the reunion, I want to say like 3 weeks ago. So lots happened, year of healing. So,
yeah. And I love your journey. At first, I was like, man, when I see him, I'm going to lay him out. Why he do her like that? But there's so many different sides to everybody's story.
Yeah.
And then there's only so much that we get to see because, it's an edited show and things like that. So the internet could be tough.
It's tough, yeah.
Nowadays. How has that experience been for you as far as how people have been approaching you?
It's been interesting navigating that, especially after the wedding scene. I got a lot of hate. A lot of people reached out to my business, gave bad reviews. Like my number got leaked in the situation. So it was a lot of hate coming my way. But, like I said, like it comes with the territory. I try to make the best decision that was for me. And I know that a lot of people don't really get the insight in terms of like what my perspective was. Even the way how they edited me, I don't think a lot of people got to really understand who I was and some of the decisions that I made. But I'm just navigating it every day. Like I said, I was a regular guy, before all this stuff happens. So it's kind of weird when now your whole life is getting like publicly analyzed and people got opinion about everything that you do. So that's been tough navigating, but I feel like every day I'm getting better at it.
Do you feel like since the airing of the reunion that more people have come to you in an understanding type way? Like, you know what? Now we get it.
100%. I think the reunion definitely gave me a little bit more light. But it's funny too, like everything that I did at the reunion, I said a lot of that stuff while we were filming. Just a lot of that didn't make the edit. So it's comes with the territory. I was happy that I actually got a chance to explain myself and people got to hear, the fact that I was sorry and I wasn't coming out there to do anything malicious. I was just following my heart and how I felt at that moment.
Well, let's talk about that. What made you go on the show? Because it is unconventional.
Mm-hmm. Well, they recruited me. So I was on, Instagram one day. I just got a DM from one of the casting directors, and they were pretty much recruiting people in the Charlotte area. They call it the Charlotte Singles Project. So they reached out to me, and I didn't really know what to expect. So I just kind of did the interview. Really didn't have too much expectations, and then next thing you know, after like interview 7, they told me I'm officially a cast member of season 6. Yep.
And then fast forward, and you fall in love.
Fall in love, yep.
Did that shock you? Like, I didn't know what to expect from here. And look at me at the altar.
Well, honestly, like in the pods, I was, the concept is to fall in love and get married. But, I always kind of think like sometimes the worst case scenario before like the best. So I kind of was like, I don't think I'm going to find love, but, maybe this could be a situation where I could date differently and build more of an emotional connection, rather than a physical. And then I found AD and I fell in love with AD and I went through the process, but I never even thought I was going to get engaged until like day 8. The proposal day actually happened day 9 and the reveal happened day 10. Day 8 is when I decided, oh wow, like I really could see myself married to AD, and I proposed to her. So a lot of my decision even going to the altar had a lot to do with my decision even, getting engaged, because it was at the last minute where I even felt like I could even get engaged with AD. I kind of thought the same thing at the wedding. So I do understand the narrative, like why'd you go all the way to the altar? But honestly, I was contemplated my decision, and it was back and forth. I didn't have a clear-cut decision until like, I said that, I didn't think it was responsible for me to say I do.
For sure. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. You said day 8, right? And then to the average person watching, it's like only 8 days. But then when you're actually there, how long were you guys like conversing? Was it hours and hours? Because we only seen like 10 minutes of it maybe.
Yeah, so the first day you're dating all the women. So you're dating about 15 people. So it's like speed dating in a sense. It's like 15 minutes. And as the day gradually keep going on, the time actually increases. So day 2, you go to like 30 minutes to an hour. And then you have night dating as well. But towards the end, I would say like from day 6 to day 9, my dates with AD were like 3 hours plus. So I know one date that we had, I think it was like 5 hours. So it's like, they didn't really show like the dates where me and her were like vibing. And I think it would have been good for the Black community to see some of the conversation that we were having, like the conversation about, commercial real estate and how I believe that Black people, we need to get into commercial real estate to have a real impact in terms of the, economic dynamic. And also too, like, talking about my brother has autism and how I wanted to get commercial real estate, to help out people who have autism. I think there were like really conversations that really drove me and AD together that wasn't seen. But there's so much filming, producers and Netflix, they only want to take what actually, builds their storyline. So I received that.
Of course. Absolutely. And there wasn't that many people who actually made it to the altar. So had you told her, hey, this isn't going to work like the other couple did, it would only been one couple that actually made it. And I'm pretty sure they didn't want that too. So was there any time where you felt any pressure to do it because you knew that there was only one couple?
Well, there's always pressure on me. At the end of the day, like, I wanted to show up for AD. And like I said, like, me and AD had multiple conversations. To me, I felt me and AD had conversations where I expressed my hesitancy towards getting married. I think I even said it on the show. Most people seen it. Me and AD even had a particular conversation after the lake house where we talked to, different people and said, hey, do we really want to do this? And I felt like AD and I both agreed that, hey, we're going to go all the way to the altar. So it's just one of them things where, we picked our head down. The last 2 weeks of our relationship was really good. Instead of living in the townhouse that Netflix put us in, we moved to my house. Things got a little bit more realistic to me because some parts of the show, I struggle with, is this real or is this TV? And at the end of the day, I don't take marriage lightly. Marriage is eternity. And sometimes of the experiment, I struggle with, the realistic part of it, the fact that AD took off work, to do the show. That's not realistic. You're going to be working in the real world. And I didn't see that aspect of her. So when I said no to her, it wasn't saying no to AD. It was just saying no to the timing. Like, hey, 6 weeks is not enough for us to build a foundation where I felt it was going to be good for eternity.
Yeah. I mean, and some people have to be realistic about it. I know the show is based on going to the altar and getting married, saying yes, you know what it is. But ideally, you want to spend some time with the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So, I understand completely what the hesitations are. I mean, this is your real life.
Yeah.
And if you made this decision, this is something you're going to have to deal with for a long time because you got to go through the same process of divorce should you have gone through with it.
100%.
Now, there's a lot of people in the comments who were asking like, well, why not tell her beforehand so she knows like, hey, I'm not going to say yes.
Well, I wasn't thinking I wasn't going to say yes. I was thinking I was, so that conversation of me having with her, it wasn't something that was on my mind. And I thought I said it a lot of times on the show, express my hesitancy towards, the marriage part.
Yeah.
I expressed it like, I'm a pretty candid guy. I'm pretty like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. And, you can take it or leave it. I always wanted to show up for AD because I loved her, like I wanted to be in a relationship with her. But, maybe I should have done a better job of just having better conversations with her with it to make her fully understand. But in my opinion, I thought we had conversations where I expressed my hesitancy towards it. But I wanted to show up because our relationship was good. It wasn't like we were having a bad relationship. Our relationship kept on improving. So I just felt like as the days would just keep passing, I just thought that, possibility I would have this strong feeling where it's like, this is my wife. And unfortunately for me, when I got to the altar, I sat down and I was like, I don't really have that desire feeling where I feel 100% in this. And if you don't feel 100% to get married to someone, I just feel like you shouldn't be in that situation. Yeah. It's a unique experiment where the show is designed for you to go to the altar. So everyone's talking about, well, Jimmy got off and he told Chelsea, well, that's not the design of the show. The design of the show is to go to the altar and make that decision. So I do understand what people being frustrated, but I posted on my Instagram, the CEO actually validated the decision I made and said that the point of the show is to go to the altar. And that's what I did. And that's what, I didn't watch the show before coming on.
Really?
No, I didn't. But every time I talked to production, they told me that's the concept of the show. So, it's to go to the altar and make a decision.
Most definitely. And you could totally tell that there was hesitancy all throughout the episode, especially when she said that, if you were to say no, that you guys wouldn't date. And the look in your face after was kind of like, I was kind of hoping that maybe we could, you know what I'm saying? Like, why does it have to end here kind of
Yeah.
thing? I may not be ready for that. So I do feel like there was a lot of moments in the show where you did express that. And we appreciate your vulnerability because you've just opened up a whole new space for, I think, you know, Black men to express their feelings. You know, even the part with your mom and dad at the end was very motivating and powerful. I feel like it took the show to another level and upped it a notch because those kind of discussions don't get had. And so before we get into that, how do you think the show did as far as pairing the couples? Because we don't actually know the process of how they choose people. Obviously, if they're picking and hitting you up in the DMs, they did a good job because you found someone that, you know, you admitted that you fell in love with.
Yeah. I think the show does an amazing job of like finding out like people, and they always say that they're somebody on the other side that when you told the production in terms of what you want from a partner, there's someone on the other side that's supposed to match that. Whether you find that person or not, you know, that person is there on that other side. So, you know, I think the producers did a good job of like vetting everything out. A lot of people had a lot of stuff going on with them. And the beautiful thing is that a lot of the guys, I know for the girls as well, a lot of the girls are still friends, they're best friends. A lot of the guys, we still hang out. So we created friendships and bonds that are probably gonna last forever. Uniquely, we're in this weird fraternity, sorority of going through this weird experiment. So, you know, it's kind of cool.
So getting into your mom and dad, how did that make you feel seeing that scene?
That was tough, but also it was a closure for me in a sense. Not closure, but I think it started the conversation that we needed to have as a family. A lot of times in a Black household, we turn a blind eye to like our trauma and we don't address it. And I feel as though my mom having that scene, that was something that she wanted to have for a long time, off camera, honestly. And it just so happened to happen on camera. So God is good where that conversation did happen on camera. And now Black families have even reached out to me and said, hey, like you are an example. I was struggling with this, and you saying that allowed me to express to my father this stuff, or my mother, this stuff affected me, you know? So liberation is never easy. And I feel as though like I was getting, you know, a lot of stones at me because I was telling people, hey, this is who I am. And when you tell people who you are, you know, that leaves you room for people to throw stones at you. But, you know, I'm happy to be in this space where I can advocate for men's mental health. And like I said, liberation isn't easy, but I'm here to liberate and also talk about some of the things that I struggle with. And hopefully other Black men can hear that and be motivated and express that to their families or their spouse as well.
Absolutely. And you said that you've been going to therapy.
Yep.
So knowing the dynamic of your mother and your father's relationship, and you saying throughout the show that you need to let that part go, that's not your trauma.
Yeah.
And for you to move forward, how do you feel about marriage now and just commitment? Because obviously if you come from a semi-broken family, you're not likely to commit, and your trust levels are very low. So where are you at with that now?
Well, I've been going to therapy for a year now. I switched different therapists, and I found one that I really like. Shout out to Miss Tony. She's just been honestly just on point, giving me homeworks. One of the things that I think that worked for me is like changing up my behavioral and doing homework that helps me change my behavioral. And some of the things that she even helps me out with is identifying things in my childhood that is affecting me as an adult. And I think that that is like some of the root things that for mental health that you need to attack, because as children, you're a sponge, you pick up on things, but you might not be able to express it or explain why you do certain things. And really a lot of that trauma comes from your childhood. So I think my therapist has done a good job of tapping into my childhood and understanding how I react to certain things. But yeah, like the therapy has been awesome. And, you know, I just think that most people, this is something that I want to advocate because it's been unlocking so many doors, so many insecurities that I have. And I feel so much stronger. I'm able to cry and not feel weak, you know, like different strength that I thought was weak before. And now I could use it as a strength, you know, so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kudos to you.
I appreciate it.
I feel like that's very mature of you. Some people take those kind of traumas to their grave, you know, especially in the African-American community. There's a lot of adult babies walking around who just, it's a hard place to tap into. And a lot of people can't deal with it head on. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
So where do you stand now in your love life? On the reunion, you said that you feel like you made a mistake. Do you still feel that way? How do you feel about AD now?
AD is always gonna have a sweet spot in my heart. Like the fact that she was that safe space for me, I'm always gonna cherish that. But for me right now, I think what I'm focused on is just supporting AD because we're at two different parts of our healing journey. I'm still healing. I'm still going through my therapy. I still want to do the goods work and not just talk about it. I want to be about action. Things that I'm trying to do is align myself so I can look at myself as a husband. And I still feel like there's more work that needs to be done. So I'm definitely not dating right now. I'm single, but I'm not dating. And I'm just honestly just putting in the work. So that's where I'm at. And I'm happy with it. And like happiness is coming with it. So I'm excited.
Now, let's just have a candid moment.
Yeah.
Are your DMs blowing up?
My DMs are blowing up, but I'm not checking them. I'm not like responding. I really appreciate the support. People have been showing me so much support. I feel like there's so much going on in my life right now because I did pick up a new job. And now one of the things I'm trying to do is focus on that. And it's been kind of tough with the show and all that stuff. But my job has been a saving grace because with all the chaos, I'm able to just kind of lock in that. So, the DMs are blowing up, but I'm trying to kind of stay focused on what my priorities are. And my priorities is work, my family. And that has been kind of like my saving grace during this time period.
For sure. Mm-hmm. What is your zodiac sign? I'm curious.
I'm a Virgo.
Virgo. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Shout out to the Virgos. Because you're very work oriented and that was shown throughout the show. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that can get in the way of love if you don't know how to balance it.
100%.
Now, it does seem like that you're focused, laser focused on getting your career established or continuing to get into new things and new opportunities. Do you feel like you would be able to balance that? Because there were times where we saw you, you was working and she's kind of like wanting that love and affection. Mm-hmm. Did that give you a glimpse of what married life looks like? And how do you feel like you can use that lesson for when you do actually get married?
Yeah, I think it's all about communication. I think that I'm not going to say that the way I do things is perfect or I'm not a above approach. I think that has to go with communication with my partner, but also too for me to realize that, hey, me and AD, when we connected in the pods, it was a lot about the entrepreneur spirit. She communicated she was a go-getter. So some of the stuff that you saw, AD like really dedicated all her time to being a wife and not working. I couldn't afford taking off 6 weeks. It just, in my field, 3 weeks was a lot. 6 weeks is just crazy for me. So I just feel like we just had two different schedules. She's in the nightlife where she could do that, and I was in the field where I couldn't do that. So sometimes it's about aligning yourself with the right person that can understand it. Maybe next time when I'm in a relationship, dating somebody that has similar interests or doing similar things, so it's not that much of an issue, they'll understand. There was a little bit of and which is why I said, some of the reasons why I said no is towards the time, and me and AD needed to understand certain things. I don't think she really understand my career path and what I was doing. And for us to get married, you need to understand that. So that's kind of like my perspective with it. And, maybe I just need to align myself differently. But AD did the best she could do, and I did the best that I could do. And I think that's why we're still friends to this day.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Does she ever say anything that makes you think like, she still want me, or she still, like, I know she still love me?
I don't know, like this past press run that she did, I definitely don't feel like that.
Oh, no.
So I'm feeling like, dang, like we was in love, but like, did you really love me? But me, I'm sure once me and AD talk, I'll get clarity. I haven't had a conversation with her. I think the wedding scene was really tough for her to deal with, especially with the public perception with it. So I'm giving AD grace because, everybody heals a different way.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure once me and her have a conversation, all bygones will be done. So.
I think it's absolutely the internet that has influenced because if you just look at all the comments, it's hard to ignore all of that. And it's like the girls in your ear, like, oh, how you let him do you like that. But I think just hearing how you speak, and you're so well spoken, by the way. Shout out to your mama.
Thank you.
Shout out to your mama. Because you really know how to articulate yourself. And I feel like there's a lot of people that miss that kind of communication in relationships. So, we was all really rooting for you guys. Yeah. I hope that in the future, maybe, life is unpredictable. You guys might spin the block. You never know. Or you may move on and find love. But I think that you are headed in the right direction as far as that healing and what that looks like. So kudos to you. I do want to ask you this is your chance to address any misconceptions that may be out there. Because, people be typing, folks don't even know you.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're like, what, if I could speak on this, let me just clear the air. This is what this is. This is what that was.
Yeah. Well, I would say that I'm not gonna run away from the criticism and what people have from me. I do think that there's things I could get better at. So even though when people were saying, Clay, you did this, and bringing up other points about me, calling me names, if you think that, cool, I'm gonna do the work to always just show up 100% and be my best self. So I think for me, it's just giving myself grace and knowing that, even though the internet is giving me a lot of hate, there's a lot of people showing me support as well. And I just gotta lean into that and lean into my support system. Another thing I want to clear up, every time a lot of people were making jokes about me saying, I'm going to cheat. It wasn't that. I literally was saying that, have we built a foundation enough for us to last for eternity? Because marriage is something important, and I don't play with marriage. Like marriage, I don't want to have a divorce. That's something I'm not trying to do. So I was edited a little bit crazy, I'm gonna be honest, where I was saying, have we built a foundation enough for this to be eternity? I don't want to cheat. They cut the whole first part out and it said, I don't want to cheat. So now it's like, everyone has this kind of joke like, Clay's gonna cheat on you, Clay's gonna cheat. I'm like, no, I never cheated in a relationship. So like, let's cut that out.
That's crazy. It's crazy how easily you could just flip something.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you much success.
Yeah.
And what can we look forward to from Clay?
Well, I'm definitely going to be a major player in the mental health advocacy. So I definitely want to, start putting it out there. Just for men, I just think that we have to have such a tough interior and not be able to be vulnerable, or don't have the safe space to be vulnerable. So I definitely want to start breaking down barriers and start speaking on stuff and being more vulnerable online and letting Black men know that, hey, like, this is something that we should normalize. So I definitely want to, spearhead that. And also, too, I have my Gravesande water rental business, so I'm looking forward to getting back and to get into my business. I just got a jet car, so that's something that's going to be pretty cool to bring to the city. So, it's people who are tourists that want to come to Charlotte. We got boats, we got jet skis, and we're just trying to bring a vibe to Charlotte. So I'm excited for that.
I absolutely love that. And what about TV? Are you coming back to TV anytime soon?
Man, I'm a little hurt from TV. So, but I'm not the one to say that I won't do it. I think it got to be the right opportunity, something that aligns with who I am, and I'll definitely be for that. This last kind of week, talking to you, talking to other people, it's been fun. Like, honestly, just having candid conversations. So. Yeah. I was in my house kind of dealing with all the hate. And I'm like, I don't think I want to do anything with TV. But now actually talking and actually coming out, like, it's actually not that bad. And I think people are giving me grace and showing me support. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you also for, allowing me to have this opportunity to share my story and giving me grace as well.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We all deserve grace. Yep. And you wasn't that bad. Just so you know, I know the world can make it seem like, oh, you was just horrible. No, I think this brings up a really important conversation that a lot of households need to have. Yeah. And thank you for saying that, because you addressed another comment, which people try to say you did it for TV. Mm-hmm. But if you're not rushing back to get into it, mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and then, like, how can I be a cloud chaser? Like, I didn't even watch the show. I didn't even know what was coming with the show. But yeah, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Clay. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Thank you.